Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King, and today I'm going to be giving you part 2 of What If Naruto Was the Last Elemental Slayer. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this with your friends on your social media platform, and also don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto fused with Minato, Kushina, and Kurama over on Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, I did have 4 channel guys. I already posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto's a OP Anvo over on Anime King 2, so go ahead and enjoy that. And also for Anime Prince, I posted a What If Deku What If, so go ahead, check out that as well guys. And yeah, without further ado, wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this new episode? Don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, what do you say we begin this episode right away guys? Begin now. So yeah guys, the last part we left off, Sarutobi went to pay Naruto a visit. Naruto was not what most would expect. He was 17 years old right now. He was tall, 6 feet 5. He was humongous. His body was filled with muscles. As Naruto was a special kind of person, he was a slayer, one of the last Uzumaki slayers. Hiruzen wanted Naruto to become a ninja of Konoha, so he would participate in the final exam. As Naruto agreed, as he made his way to the class, the people were shocked when they saw his appearance. Long red hair, markings all over his body like tattoos, as he looked quite intimidating and dangerous. As he sat in the class, he met a friend. Her name was Hinata. As the girl was shy, though really shy, as he saw a friend in her, because she did not give him the looks like the others did. As Naruto did the test, as he went through rather quickly, he then had to do a sparring test as he was faced against Sasuke Uchiha. The 15-year-old Sasuke Uchiha thought that he stood a chance, but he really did not, as Naruto decimated him where he stood, as Aruka had to rush him towards a hospital. With that, Naruto made his way after. He was given a headband. He was placed on Team 7 with Hinata and Sasuke as well, as their sensei was Kakashi. After the introduction was over, he asked more about Naruto, as Naruto filled him in a bit more. The Uzumakis have slayers. They were said that they were connected to dragons in the past, however, that was never theoretically proven by anyone that has been around to this day. However, Naruto was one of those as he activated his bloodline when he was 7 years old, when he was being attacked by a mob within the village. Kakashi was a bit remorseful at that, because he was there. He was actually the one that saved Naruto, and there was another person there as well, and that was Anko Midarashi. So with that, the next day they came. Kakashi knew that he was an elite Jonin. Yes, he was strong, however, Naruto was putting him through the ringer. When Kakashi finally arrived at the office, he was smoking from head to toe. He looked like he was in agonizing pain, as Naruto was a violent force of nature that crushed everything in his path, dangerous, strong, and powerful. As Kakashi reported that, the others were shocked by that. Anko decided to go and meet this guy. She was shocked when she realized it was the same kid that she tried to save all those years ago and failed to do so. As she ended up walking into Naruto's place, she was shocked by the place. Despite it looking like a cave, it was a gigantic place, with many comfortable chairs and furniture inside, and the place had a gigantic pool in the center. It was amazing, as Naruto got to talk to her. A little bit of teasing turned into a little bit of joking around, turned into a little bit of kissing, as the both of them, before they knew it, started to tear off each other clothes, as they went beyond the point of no return. When Anko woke up, she had just had the best time of her life. Most people believe that just because of the way she dressed, she had been with a lot of men, but in truth she had not. And this was beyond special, as Naruto treated her like she belonged here now. Like, she didn't know what to explain, but she felt wanted, and it was a wonderful feeling. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself, and when you see we jump right into the new episode guys. Begin now. Anko Midarashi stepped into the shower. as the hot water washed over her. As she really hoped that this wasn't some dream or a trick. She didn't know what she would do if it was, as she felt really vulnerable, something that she despised feeling. However, as those thoughts drifted through her head, she was oblivious to the thoughts that was running through Naruto's mind. Naruto was operating on autopilot as he scrambled some eggs to feed himself and his guests, as he fried some hash browns and diced Venice sausage. As he couldn't help himself, he was thinking about the woman that was currently using the shower. He actually was upset with what he did. Most people didn't want to be his friend because of who he was. Well, they didn't know what he contained, but they was afraid of what he looked like. And he had just ruined a wonderful friendship with a woman that he, well, was becoming friends with. And she didn't see him as how most people saw him. Yet he had to throw everything through the window and sleep with her. As he really hoped that this doesn't just end things. He knew that relationships didn't last long. After all, given who he was, what would he expect? How would this even go, he thought to himself. Had he just ruined a wonderful friendship? Yes, he had. After a few minutes, she stepped out, as Naruto had, as Shadow Clone washed her clothing, before using some fire chocolate to dry it, as she was back in them, fresh and clean. She sat at the table, as Naruto felt a bit awkward as he placed down the plate in front of her, as she started to eat. Breakfast was a silent affair, something that both of them were thankful for. There was so much thought running through their minds, and also it made things a whole lot awkward, which they hated as well. After they were done eating, Naruto washed dishes, as Anko sat at the table. Time to face the music, he thought. I've got to go meet my team now, he said, but you can stick around and make yourself comfortable if you want. As he started to walk, however, she got up. She grabbed his arm, stopping him. As he turned to face her, her arm was wrapped around his. As Naruto stood there, she was looking down. She reached up and grabbed his necklace, as she used it to pull him down a bit, before she kissed him on the cheek, surprising him. Thanks for everything, she said. She was acting nervous and shy, a faint smile on her lips. As she started to walk before she paused, she placed her natural look back on, with a smirk on her face. Don't think this changes anything, asshole, she said. I'm still pissed at what you did to me. She was talking about what he did with that music of his, that made her feel so flustered in the beginning. With that, she turned and rushed out of the cavern, leaving a stunned Naruto behind. As Naruto exhaled a puff of smoke before he stuffed his hands in his pockets, as he started to walk away. Looking normal as usual, however, for the rest of the day, no one could explain why he was just smiling. Yes, he seemed really happy. Time skip. Hey, Kurenai, can I talk to you about something? Something that has to stay just between you and I, said Anko, as she and her best friend UI Kurenai sat in the back of a shinobi-owned bar. Caught by her sudden change in mood, Kurenai started to become a bit worried. Whenever they were alone, or just relaxing, Anko called her Nai-chan, so she was rather surprised to hear her call her Kurenai. Yeah, of course. What's wrong? Well, it's just that I don't know, she said. She then started to explain everything that happened between her and Naruto. While she was angry about the redhead taking advantage, using that music against her, Anko explained everything else, as Kurenai was able to calm down. However, he wasn't completely off the hook in Kurenai's opinion, but at least she would give him a chance to make him explain himself when she got a hold of him. However, Anko was rather defensive for him. Leave him alone, Kurenai. I know that he was being honest, and it wasn't like I gave him much of a choice yesterday. Why are you defending him? Given his actions, he kind of took advantage of you, Kurenai said. Look, he may have gotten the ball rolling at first. However, I was the one that took advantage of him. Anko snapped at her, before she looked away and looked back down towards a small dish in front of her. He even offered to let me stay at his place whenever I want, and I can tell that he didn't have any ulterior motives when he said that. He's a good guy, Kurenai. We might have gotten off to a weird and rocky start. Once you get past his sarcasm and short temper, he's honest, kind, a real good guy. After all, trying to find an honest man nowadays is something really rare, especially if they speak their mind. Not to mention when you factor in that his life has been harder than anything else. I'm surprised he hasn't snapped yet. What do you mean? Kurenai said. However, Anko shook her head negatively as she ignored the question. She bade her good night. As she left the bar, her mind was still focused on the Slayer. Elsewhere, Naruto was lying in his hammock as he was reading one of his mother's journals. As she had a lot of them, they were like guidebooks that she started to write after finding out that she was pregnant with him. All of them were categorized into a particular subject. One thing his mother always kept hidden away from other people was the fact that she was a Slayer as well, but her Karaketsu had only been partially awakening, leaving her unable to progress in their bloodline, and without any signs of her bloodline activation. No tattoos, eyes, fangs, nothing else. However, she had a great deal of knowledge about them. A lot of the Slayers came from their past history, direct history that is, as this one was about their unorthodox and unexpected courting and rituals. Since they were the closest thing he had to a mother advice, he read them like a religious book. Whenever he had a problem that he couldn't solve by burning it to ash, he turned to these books. And it turns out that was a common thing for Slayers. Yeah, all of them had a temper, and with the ability to breathe fire. Yeah, things were always burning. As Naruto focused on the pages he read, for us Slayers, love at first sight does not exist. There is no destined soulmate or true love for us. When a Slayer finds a person that they will love for the rest of their life, it is usually under the most unexpected circumstances. Example of which is when I met my husband. When I was younger, I was hot-headed, literally had no mental filter between my brain and my mouth. I still don't really. And because of that, I was a hard person to get along with. And my husband, your father, didn't get along with me very well. That all changed one day when our tendency to clash reached an all-new high. It was a rather vicious battle. We both suffered at least one broken bone, a large number of cuts and scratches, an even greater number of bruises, and a few nasty burns in your father's case. Despite all of that, after that battle, we shared our first kiss. While we will still have our disagreement that end with the both of us coming to a brawl most times, we were still head over heels in love with one another. Nothing could split us apart, not even when I would banish him to the couch. Embarrassingly enough, I would always cave and sneak to his side in the middle of the night and cozy up with him. I can only hope and pray that you find someone like I have. I know that I mentioned it before, but if you're reading these journals, I'm no longer alive, and if Minato is not there either, I can only apologize because I know your life will be hard, but don't let it get to you. You will find that special someone, trust me. You will know it when just being around that person makes you happy. Now, don't get me wrong, your mates wouldn't necessarily be like how me and Minato were, tussling most times with one another, but they would most definitely be as stubborn as you, and also aggressive in certain areas. Really, Mom? Said Naruto, as he closed his eyes. She really didn't have a filter, he thought to himself. It must be a family thing, or perhaps a Slayer thing because he didn't have one as well. He decided to close the book as he tied it back with the bone string around it. As he lowered on his chest as he glanced up through the vines, seeing the moon. I wonder if Anko is that special someone, he thought to himself, as he lay there until he started to drift off, falling asleep, as that same woman invaded his dreams. Maybe she was the one. Time skip. It's been a week since the encounter between Naruto and Anko, and Naruto had not seen any trace of her. Because of it, he had grown a bit more temperamental with others. Even with the guidance of his mother's journals, he didn't know how to react to what happened between him and Anko, and it was driving him nuts. Not only that, but she hadn't stopped by to at least tell him not to bother her if she didn't want to see him anymore. Then the third found out about it somehow, and Naruto had to sit through a lecture from the old man. And Kakashi had stumbled upon it as well, and started teasing him about it. As Naruto knew that Kakashi meant well, and he was simply playing around, however, if he kept it up. So it was their first time, and with one of Konoha's beautiful Kunoichis. That just earned you 5 more points. Naruto sighed as he snapped. Senkou, said Naruto as he threw his fist out. Kakashi saw what that did to the training ground. As he wasn't going to chance that, he quickly substituted as the log was burned to pieces by an arc of red flames that shot from Naruto's fist. It flew past a pointing area and eviscerated a few trees before it went off in a brilliant fire show. It was only one of several A-rank jutsus that Naruto had created and mastered in the past. As Naruto snorted out a large cloud of black smoke, as he was unaware that his eyes had turned golden at that point, as his eyes returned back to red before he stormed off. Kakashi was cowering behind the memorial stone as he thought about that thing hitting him as he looked towards the gigantic crater. What was even scarier was, despite that being an A-rank technique, Naruto was able to throw it around all day long, while anyone else would have been exhausted after using it once. As Naruto decided it was best if he just went home for today. Once he got home, he spotted a few pieces of metal, as an idea came to mind as he grabbed the metal and made his way over towards the table. Turning his chair around, he started to breathe a steady heat of flames from his mouth. Despite literally having his hand right in the flames, he was immune to it. As Naruto started to twist the metal and shape it, as the color started to turn a bright orange. 3 weeks later, Naruto had worked on his project, as he had sent clones instead of going himself towards the team training. Kakashi had stopped by the first day to complain about it. However, Naruto made a valid argument. Team 7 was not a team. One was an arrogant, spoiled, and mentally unstable brat who thought that he was the emperor, with a lone avenger complex, and one was a cowardly little girl with a speech impediment issue and self-esteem issue as well, who didn't understand the darkness of the world. And he himself was a pyromania brute who had problems and couldn't get along with others. And Kakashi was a perverted slacker with no sense of time that was stuck within the past. Because of their inability to work together and connect with one another, Naruto saw no reason to show up until the proper time to do so. Personally though, he would have already started to try and help Hinata grow some self-confidence. However, he was too emotional at the moment, and he might accidentally shatter her mind while trying to help her in the process, so he decided to just back off for now. However, at the moment that wasn't on his mind, as Naruto did not move as he looked towards the black wooden stand that held two of the finest work that he ever crafted. It was a blade, a crimson blade with a flower petal style drifting across the handle. A deep crimson wood handle that connected perfectly, as the petals looked like they were glowing and blowing in the wind. Below it there was a small tanto, as Naruto decided to name the longer blade the Wakazushi, Guren, and the tanto he was gonna call it Tenko. However, despite working on them, the weapons themselves weren't on his mind either. It was the person that he made them for who still hadn't stopped by. She probably doesn't want anything to do with me. Not that I blamed her. As Naruto set both of the weapons up on top of the rack, before he started slowly make his way. Naruto. He paused as he heard his name. As Naruto looked up, he did his best to recompose his composure and his emotion at the moment. As she spoke, "Are you busy?" "I want to talk about what happened," she said. He kept himself neutral and calm. "No, not really. I was just about to fix some dinner. But that's pretty much it," he said. As he took a moment to examine Anko, noticing that she seemed a bit nervous. However, he didn't see any of the insecurity or the uncertainty in her body language a month ago when he last saw her. At the mention of food though, her stomach suddenly growled, as she blushed in embarrassment, unable to look at him. As Naruto chuckled at that as he walked over. "Come on," he said. "I'll be nice and let you pick. Hell, I'll even pay. Consider it compensation," he said. Time skip. "Alright, speak. What's on your mind?" said Naruto, as he had internally complained about how empty his wallet was. The girl can truly eat dango. A lot. As they order a couple of steak. However, Naruto needed a bit more to get drunk, so they had ordered a lot. As Naruto was carrying a crate on his shoulder as they were heading toward his home. Anko blushed at his question, however, she refrained from speaking until they were near his home. "Well, I guess I should start off by apologizing for my behavior that day," she said. "I guess I was a bit forceful at times, and I didn't give you the chance to calm me down, so I guess I'm sorry," she said. As they passed through the tunnel and came upon the curved rocks. As Naruto simply shook his head, as he seemed to find this hilarious. What's so funny, she said. I'm trying to apologize for nothing, said Naruto. Remember what I said the first time that we met. As Naruto set the crate down and turned towards her. I like it when people stand up to me, so there is nothing for you to apologize for. Besides, I should have been a bit more forceful myself, and made you calm down, said Naruto. Either that or I shouldn't have kept up the teasing like I did. She blushed as she took a swig of the sake, as she sat down in his hammock. As she said something, however, he didn't hear her. What was that? You're gonna have to speak louder than that. As Naruto took one of the bottles and started the drink, as he sat down and leaned his back against the crate, as there was a huge blush in her face. I said I didn't mind, you were my first. And I loved it, okay? She shouted at him, as her entire face turned a dark red, as he was looking directly at her. As Naruto looked surprised, as she quickly spun around and quickly downed the bottle of sake in her hand, trying to get as drunk as possible. As she remained there for a while until she spoke. I don't know what it was, but when you kissed me, it felt like... I don't know how to describe it, felt like a jolt of electricity ran right through me. Yes, again, jutsu almost drive me crazy, but the kiss, it was just... She couldn't explain. The feeling was something that someone else had to experience to understand. This is gonna sound really cliche and cheesy, but I can't think of any other way to describe it. It felt like my life went from stuck in a chaotic storm into a peaceful paradise. When we first kissed, she said. That doesn't sound very cliche to me. I mean, look at where we are right now, said Naruto, as he gestured to his little hideaway, his home. As he glanced up towards the vines that blocked out, as he realized that the place was getting dark. Night was coming. I never imagined I would find a place like this. But I did. To be honest, I never thought I would find someone that actually liked me for me. But I did. Or at least, I thought I did. Naruto, Anko whispered, with a little bit of shock and some hope, wondering if he was talking about her or not. Yeah, the old man was right, said Naruto. Deep emotional thinking doesn't suit me very well. Well, I think it does, she whispered, as the mood was getting really somber. As Naruto decided to change it to a more fun mood. Hey Anko, he said, do you know how to play Tree Man, he asked, as he pulled out a couple of dice, from where Anko did not know. She shook her head, not knowing that. Don't worry, said Naruto, I'll teach you. Time skip. Anko was lying in bed next to Naruto, who had passed out, while she was still up. They had had a couple of bottles, however, Naruto had over 3 dozen for himself. It was harder for him to get drunk, but maybe he went a bit overboard. Unlike the last time she woke up, now she was still dressed in her underwear, while he was still wearing his shorts. As she looked around, noticing things that she did not focus on last time, like the bookshelf, where there was a lot of scrolls. A lot of books, there was 3 of them, one at the side, one to the far corner and one in the center. Her eyes soon caught sight of something as she slipped out of the bed. As she saw, it was 2 blades, a Wakajishi, and a Tanto. There was something carved into both of the stands, as she read it to herself. Like the petals of wilting flowers, droplets of blood shall fall from my blades. Wow, impressive, she said. As she read the names of the blades, it had been carved right into it. Guren and Tenka. As she picked up the Guren and held onto it, as Anko unsheathed the blade was painted red. As the metal was finely decorated, and not to mention the flower petals on it. This was amazing. Do you like them? She heard, making her squeak and jump a bit as she turned, seeing Naruto looking at her with an eye smile. Yes, she said, calming herself. They're beautiful. She shivered a bit as she realized it was rather cold. With her just in her underwear, she crawled back into bed and cuddled up against him, as Naruto felt like a natural space warmer. Where did you find them? She said. They must have cost a fortune. Well, actually, I made them, said Naruto. Anko was shocked. What? You think I have an anvil out there and metal for decoration, said Naruto. I've been forging weapons now for almost 6 years. I originally took it up to better train my fire affinity, but eventually became a hobby and an extra source of income on the side. You're just full of surprises, aren't you? She said, as she rested her head on his chest. You're really comfy, she said, snuggling even more. You know that, right? I'm what? Said Naruto. Rather surprised by that, he was comfy. Being called comfy was something he was not used to hearing. In fact, it was the first time someone called him that. However, she just yawned as she was being lulled back to sleep. As she rolled over for him to spoon her, so he did, and wrap his arms around her as she snuggled up into him. It was still kind of early in the morning, and they hadn't went to bed until late last night, so he guessed a few more hours could not hurt. As he gave her a kiss right inside of her neck. Sweet dreams, Anko, he said. My Naruto-kun, she said, as she drifted off. As Naruto looked rather surprised by her calling him my Naruto-kun. It made him feel happy, although she was drifting off, so maybe it was just her sleepy mind talking. As he leaned in and decided to drift off as well. Time skip, around noon. Naruto slowly woke up, just as Anko was getting out of bed, her movement being the cause of what disturbed his slumber. She was heading towards the bathroom, removing the last layer of clothes that she was wearing. As she catch Naruto's full attention, she turned and saw him staring. She blushed a bit, however. A smirk came to her face. As she pulled her hair tie out, allowing her hair to fall down, she then slowly removed the last piece of underwear she was wearing, making sure to lean over to give him a wonderful view. As she then proceeded to disappear right into the bathroom. You tease, he said, as he decided to pay her back. There was a chance of him getting his ass kicked, but he didn't care as he decided to strip down as well. As Naruto silently slipped into the bathroom once he was fully nude, he snuck up behind her as she was in the shower. As he wrapped his arms around her, lifting her off the ground. Naruto, she screamed, you jackass! As she then started to laugh. He expected her to scream some more, tried to kick him out, however, laughing was not what he expected. As he set her back down, she saw the look of confusion in his face. You don't remember our conversation last night? The one we had before we fell asleep? I remember everything up until I started to play my flute last night. Everything else is a blur, said Naruto. As Anko pulled him forward as the water started to cascade down him, she grabbed the bar of soap as she started to rub it over him with a slight blush. We were talking about what was going to happen to, us. Did you know that you like to express yourself a lot more when you're drunk? As Naruto looked away at that, he did not know that fact about himself. Now that he knew that, he would have to be careful who he drink around in the future. Which really sucks since that he liked to get hammered. And he didn't have to suffer through a hangover, no matter what. You told me that you had been a wreck the entire time I was gone. That you would wake up expecting to find me in your arms, only to be disappointed and heartbroken when you found nothing there. You even admit that I was your first lover as well, which I still don't think is possible, seeing how good you are, she said, as she was now making Naruto blush as he looked at the wall. As Anko realized that it wasn't impossible to embarrass him, something that she found rather amusing, as she was gonna enjoy teasing him a lot. While she finished with him, Naruto ducked underwater as he started to rinse himself off. He leaned in and gave her a quick kiss before she could object or say anything. As he spun her around, it was now his turn as he started to wash her, as she was silent until she was finished as she rinsed off. She leaned back into him as the water rushed down the both of them as she spoke up. I practically confessed my own feelings for you too. I told you the reason I didn't come by or anything was because I was afraid. I didn't know what I was feeling and I was scared. Plus, I didn't know how you felt about everything. I was afraid about what we shared that night. I was afraid that it meant nothing to you. As she paused and looked down. However, she was spun around as Naruto lifted her face a bit before he locked lips with her. Anko was left breathless and stunned after they broke apart. Her eyes glazed over as she looked into his eyes. What we share, while unintended, it is something I will cherish for the rest of my life. For the first time I was able to feel love and everything that came with it, and not in a familiar way either. It was a love between mates. Whether we stay together or never see each other again after this, just know, whenever I look back on what we shared, I'll think of you and I'll smile, said Naruto. If you want to be with me, we can go at any pace you want, as long as you're happy, because I know that I am, by just being with you. He had not broken a single eye contact the entire time he spoke, as he leaned in and kissed her once again, this time with more passion. As they slowly separated, Naruto noticed tears in her eyes, as he thought he might have done something wrong, said something wrong. You said those same exact words last night, she said. The tears ran down her face, all the way down to the kiss, as the water washed them away. At first I thought it was just alcohol, so I didn't think much of it. However, now, I know that it was your heart. As Naruto watched as she took his hand and placed it right in her chest, before she placed hers on his. I'm not very good with words, so I'm just gonna come out and say it, okay? I didn't know what I was feeling, but after talking with the third Hokage and my friend Kurenai, I now know what I was feeling was love, she said. She took a breath. Naruto, I love you. As Naruto's eyes went wide at that, for several long moments he said nothing. He just stood there, looking at her. Now, she was cut off as he kissed her, with so much more passion as Anko felt a sense of bliss, pure unintentional bliss, washed through her veins. And not to mention it got her hot and bothered. The look in his eyes as he made direct eye contact. Once he was done, dry off, she said. I want to do this in the bed, okay? She told him. Time skip. The next morning, Anko woke up, as Naruto was not there. She then heard the sound of metal striking metal. She quickly got out of bed as she made her way. Placing on her coat, she slowly made her way. As she realized it was Naruto striking a superheated steel. He didn't notice her. She decided to sneak up on him for once. However, she got past the vine. She saw that he paused. That son of a bitch, he suddenly said, as he threw the piece of metal that was curved into a cleaver-like blade, as it slammed into the wall. As he kept on with his rant, that little shit has the balls to demand a higher rank mission, and the old bastard allow it. Does everyone in this village worship that spoiled Uchiha brat? As Anko watched as she remained quiet as she saw him step towards the water before he released a gigantic stream of flame that caused the rocks to melt. As the rocks under his feet start to melt as well, leaving him in a cloud of black smoke. As he took a moment to calm back down before he walked towards where he had thrown his newest project right into the wall. Damn it, he said as he ripped it out of the wall. As he looked it over, I'm gonna have to start over. As Naruto glanced up as he saw that Anko was there, he looked away, knowing that she saw him lost his temper so badly. I'm sorry you had to see that, Anko, he said. Relax, Naruto-kun, she said. Now, would you mind explaining what all that was about? As Naruto recalled his clone's memory that he had sent to meet up with the team. My team went to the administration building to get a mission for Day, but that spoiled little brat, Sasuke Uchiha, had to throw a tantrum and demanded a higher rank mission on the justification that he need to get stronger. That's not all either. That worthless bastard Hotake, in his infinite wisdom, backed him up, which made things even worse, and the fact that the old man gave him the damn mission. Hey, calm down, okay, she said, as she walked over and wrapped her arms around him. As she just held on to him, as he seemed to be getting calmer. Once he was calm enough, she asked, so what's the mission? Just a stupid C-rank escort to Wave Country. Some old drunk wants us to protect him while he built a bridge to connect the Wave Country to the Fire Country. Something like that. It should only take a couple of weeks, said Naruto as he exhaled. Just be careful, she said. I don't want you taking any unnecessary risks. And if I find out that you did, well, I'm gonna make you regret it. Understood? As she gave him a glare to make sure her point went across. As Naruto looked towards her, she saw a look on his face. What's with that look? You should leave your hair more down like this often, said Naruto. Anko got flustered by that comment. Come on, get up, she said. You said you had a mission. She pushed him, trying to not make him see how flustered she was. As Naruto kissed her quickly before he got himself ready, she also got ready as well. They kissed one another before they separated, as they would meet up after he got back from his mission. As Naruto was still kind of pissed off, the entire village seemed to just worship Sasuke Uchiha, like he can get any goddamn thing he wanted, and Naruto really hated that. As Naruto arrived, well, look who finally decided to grace us with his. Kakashi went quiet, as Naruto looked towards him. Kakashi did not feel any killer intent, or feel like the redhead was about to blast him with flames, and that made him more worried, as he wondered what he did to anger the redhead. Alright, he said. I got the message, I'll stop. As Naruto felt someone nudge him, as he turned towards the bridge builder. So, you think these guys are gonna be able to protect me? I mean, that kid over there looked like he has a problem with the entire world. It doesn't even look like he can fight his way out of a wet paper bag. And the girl looks super afraid of her own shadow. And well, the sensei, he looked too laid back and irresponsible, said Tazuna, looking towards the only person of the team that looked actually intimidating and threatening. As Naruto turned towards him. You know what, Tazuna-san, he said. I think you and I are gonna be good friends. Time skip. Are we there yet? Said Naruto, as he was at the back of the group. Kakashi's eye twitched. Damn it, Naruto. No, we're not. And we're not gonna get there until sometime tomorrow. Kakashi snapped without looking back, as Naruto had a grin on his face. He's been doing this for the entire time, just to irritate him. Walking at a civilian pace was boring and slow, however, Naruto enjoyed quite a bit. Sure, he was pissed off almost all the time, but that was because of other people's stupidity. Being outside the village, it put him at a sense of peace as well. Hinata struck up a conversation with their client, as Naruto then sniffed as he smelled something, a scent. What are you doing here, Kira? He said. He was talking to himself mentally. He knew if she was around, her 3 students must be here as well. However, he also recognized the Demon Brothers. But why would Kira be working with them? As far as he knew, Miyaizu and Gozu had a vendetta against Kira for killing their older sister while they were on conflicting missions. Naruto knew because he was there. Jeez, this just keep on getting more and more complicated. Why can't things just go smoothly for once? As they passed by a rather innocent puddle, as Naruto pulled his hands out of his pockets, as Naruto pulled his blades, he jumped back, dodging a chain, before he thrust his blades forward, catching the attention of his teammates as he skewered the gauntlet arm of Demon Brothers. As Naruto twisted the blade, causing Demon Brothers to drop to their knees, Naruto looked up coldly at Kakashi. Get them out of here, he said. I have history with these two. As Naruto turned to face the 2 Chunin level ninja, as they were still clutching at their impaled arm, knowing that he was simply bestless at the moment, Kakashi led Tazuna and the rest of his team away. Once they were gone, Naruto tear his blade out. Both brothers cried out. Before they could even move though, Naruto slammed both blades right into their uninjured arm, getting another cry of pain from the both of them. I want answers and I want them now. Why are you here? Said Naruto. The old man. We were hired to kill the old man. Gozu hissed out, as Naruto tore the blade out, before he blew a fireball towards his leg. Gozu cried out in pain, as Naruto stomped on him. Don't bullshit me, Gozu. Why are you really here? As he drive the blade back in Gozu's arm, tearing into the ground, reaching down towards the guard. As Naruto gripped Miyaizu by his throat. I suggest that you start talking, Gozu. Miyaizu here look pretty cold. Maybe I should warm him up. Don't you touch him, you bastard, Gozu said. Naruto turned towards him as black smoke came from his mouth and nose. Gozu knew that he was screwed. There was nothing he could do right now. Kira, he said. We took this job so we could get a shot at getting back at Kira for killing our sister Tenji. You can do whatever you want with me, just let Miyaizu go. Gozu, you... Naruto punched Miyaizu right in the face, almost knocking him out, as he was dizzy. Where is she? Said Naruto. Don't make me repeat myself, said Naruto. Wave country. Go to Teikyo village and head 3 kilometers east, and then 3 kilometers north from there. You will find a hideout built inside of a tree. She'll be there. Naruto ripped out his blades as the both of them winks, before he drive it in their chests, ending their life. As Naruto cleaned his blade, before he burned their corpse, his eyes were narrowed dangerously as he made his way back down the road, going after his team. Flashback to the past. Water Country, home of the wonderfulest beaches. The place was currently locked down because of a civil war between 2 factions, the non-bloodline users and the bloodline users. The 4th Mizukage was the one that brought forward this genocide for no reason. No one could understand why he did it. Him and his faction went around slaughtering the bloodline users. However, they started to fight back. They weren't just about to lie down and let themselves be killed and their friends would not stand for it either, causing a civil war, making many chaotic things in a land of water, as most people stopped visiting there or going there even if the beaches were the best in the world. However, one such individual did not care about that, as he was in search of something. He moved through the water like he was a sea creature. However, once he came up, it was shown that it was a human. He was 10 years old. He had long red hair already, going down towards his back halfway. Tribal tattoos marked on his body, coming straight up from his neck going down. Once he got out of the water, he sniffed and looked around to make sure there was no people around. He dropped on the surface. As he took in deep breaths, he was terribly exhausted from swimming so far, from the Fire Country eastern shore all the way to the eastern coast of Water Country. Never again. I'm never swimming across that damn ocean ever again, said Naruto in a gasp, as he finally allowed himself to relax after running on pure adrenaline for the past 6 hours. As he flopped over, there wasn't any cloud out tonight. As he glanced up at the cloudless sky, looking at a few stars, his body was dead tired, exhausted, as he could not fight off unconsciousness for too long. Eventually, he blacked out. Is he dead? A young girl asked, as she was one of 3. A group of shinobis had found the boy. The only adult knelt down beside him as she saw the rising and falling off his chest. No, he's just sleeping, she said, as she got up to walk away. She wanted to put as much distance between her and Kira as possible. Kira-sama, we can't just leave him like this. What if the hunter Indians find him? One of the other girls called out, stopping the woman Kira in her tracks. As much as she could not afford to take on another child, to be another traveling companion, Kira knew that the boy over there had a bloodline, judging from his appearance, and if that bastard Yagura-sama or any of his people found this boy, he would most likely be tortured to get information on other people with bloodlines and then killed instantly. As she cursed, her slowly developing motherly instincts as she reached and picked up the boy. As the 3 girls followed behind her, 2 of them were chatting about the boy. The other one remained quiet. I wonder how he got here. He doesn't match the description of any of the bloodline clans we hear about. The second girl said while staring up at the boy that your mistress was holding. Maybe he's from another country. But Ayo-chan, how would he get here? I didn't see any wreckage or any boat. I mean, he couldn't have swum all the way here. The first girl countered, as the third one was still silent. There was a sheeted tanto gripped in her hand. Perhaps he's got a new bloodline, or maybe he doesn't have a bloodline to begin with. But look at his ears, and look at his claws, and fangs. Not only that, he also had those strange tattoos. The second girl, Ayo, argued back, as that made Kira look down towards the kid that she was carrying. He most definitely had a bloodline, but she just couldn't pinpoint it, as there was something so familiar about it though. But for the life of her, she just could not remember what it was. There was only a few clans that had red hair trait, and if he was a part of the clan, he would turn to be a priceless ally, or maybe a deadly enemy in the future. However, for now, he was just a boy. The last member of their team, Kuroi, remained quiet. She had questions, yes, but she could wait her turn, or at least wait until the boy wake up so they could learn more. As she gripped her blade tighter. Time skip. Damn it. I must have overslept once again. Naruto mumbled as he slowly got up, as there was a blanket over him. Naruto paused, confused. A blanket? Didn't I pass out on a beach? Where did this blanket come from? As he found himself in a cave, the smoldering remains of a campfire, resting not too far away. As Naruto got off the traveling futon and removed the blanket, as he got up and made his way towards the entrance, his shaggy and spiky crimson hair bathing in the sunlight. Leaving so soon? Kira spoke up, frightening him as he fell over. As he dropped, he exploded a burst of flames from his mouth. Kira raised the eyebrow at the clumsy boy, however, seeing what he just did, her suspicions were confirmed as she saw the flame breath, as she was on top of the cave looking down towards him. Don't scare me like that, damn it, said Naruto as he jumped to his feet and glared up at the woman. She stood about 5 feet 11 inches, with shoulder-length black hair. She was dressed in a pair of dark blue pants that was snug around her hip while the rest of the bottom was baggy. A grey top that was stretched over her large chest size, as it looked like it barely fit her from the way the top was trained to contain her bust. as she had white cloth wrapped around her neck coming up to the lower half of her face, resembling a face mask. There was a Kira headband tied to her head that was tilted off to the side, as it also held her bangs back, so they did not get in her face. There was a slash across the metal, marking her as a missing nin. While he didn't know her identity, she was Kira Mamakai, succubus of the Bloody Mist, A-rank missing nin, former member of the Seven Ninja Swordsmen, and wielder of the Head Cleaver Blade. She was also the second woman to ever make it in the Seven Ninja Swordsmen. "Who the hell are you anyway?" said Naruto. "You're pretty pasty for a brat, aren't you?" she said, as the boy did not look that concerned about anything really, apart from the fact that she startled him. He didn't seem to be worried about anything else. "So tell me, what's a Uzumaki doing all the way out here in Water Country? I thought you were a part of the main Land Clan," she said. "How did you know I was a Uzumaki?" Kira watched as his body tensed up. She could tell that he has taken a life before, the way his body tensed, the way his claws flex. Not many clans have such vibrant red hair, nor do they have bloodline that give them ability to breed actual fire, kid. While I've never heard of one that has such strange characteristics as you, I know my fears share about a lot of bloodline clans. I had to, having been a participant in the first bloodline purges." As she jumped down right in front of him, her massive sword on her shoulder, but despite that, he did not look afraid. Most people tended to be a bit afraid when they saw her blade, but this child, he stood there, well, he was seemingly fine, not nervous. "So, are you gonna answer my question or not?" Naruto remained silent as he tried to walk through on her. However, the blade was rested against his throat. Instead of looking afraid, he simply looked towards her before he spat a blast of fire. She was forced to jump back, as a spark of the fire got on her glove as she put it out. As he started to move until she threw her blade, it stuck out right in front of him, as Naruto crashed right into the blade, unable to stop his momentum, as he fell right on his butt. "You're lucky the girls seem to like you for whatever reason, or I would have just killed you for that little stunt, you brat." Kira growled, however he snarled at her. "Stop calling me a brat," he said. She couldn't stop herself from smirking at his anger, as she noticed that the girls were coming back from their morning bath. "Oh yeah? And what exactly are you gonna do if I don't?" As she didn't think that this brat could hurt her. So what if she teased him oh shit. A gigantic blazing ball of fire was launched towards her. Time skip. "Damn little bastard," said Kira, as she was glaring at the red-headed stallion that decided that it would be fun to torch her clothing. Again, thankfully, her wrappings were left untouched, keeping her chest and face covered. However, her pants hadn't been so lucky, almost completely burned away like her top had been. It was a good thing that she had extra changes of clothes kept away for emergencies. She had started to keep them with her because the brat had joined them 2 weeks ago, and this was the second time he was doing this now. The first time it happened, she wasn't prepared at all, as the brat had even smirked at her like he'd accomplished something. Haku had rushed into the scene and stopped her from beating the shit out of a little punk, while Ayo was ranting at him, while Kuryui simply watched from the sideline, with a blank look as usual. Despite what happened when they first met, and after being begged by the three girls, which was rather shocking, even the always emotionless Kuryui had even begged her with those puppy dog eyes. She gave him a chance to come with them or not. Well, she didn't really give him a chance. She kinda forced him to do so, because she knew that the three girls would be upset if he did not come, as she had a soft spot for the three girls that she was coming to see as her daughter, since they met one another. Now she was just as a mother to the three girls as their birth mothers had been. The time went by so quickly, and in the 2 years that they've been together now, she even come to see the pyromaniac Naruto as her son, even though he always did something to piss her off, burn her clothing or something. At the moment though, Kuryui, she was 12 years old as she sat in a formal matter. She came from a clan that were like samurais, so she had great honor and respect and loyalty as well. She was dressed in baggy Hakaba pants, a black long sleeve shirt, a turtleneck that was stuck to her body. She was also wearing a black face mask that pulled up to hide the bottom half of her face. As she had a tanto rest on her hip, her black hair was pulled back in a ponytail. "What is it, Kuryui? Is something wrong?" Kira asked as she faced the youngest child, as Haku was the oldest, being 14, while Ayo was the middle, being 13. As Naruto had turned 12 roughly 5 months ago, a month and a half before Kurenai's own birthday. Kurenai was quiet for a few moments as she looked down towards the ground before she spoke up. I have a bad feeling about this job. As Kira remained quiet, allowing her to finish, I think our client is setting us up. I believe it might be a trap. Kira was silent for a moment, as she had similar thoughts on the matter. Their client was a wealthy jeweler merchant that wanted to retrieve some item from a rival dealer, gems and precious metals. One of the items was rumored to be a gem that will give someone the ability to harness the power of a dragon. That had caught Naruto's attention, as he had came here to the first place to search for relics that had been stolen from his clan, or simply lost through history. Said item sounds similar to one of the relics that he was looking for. After hearing about that, he refused to not reconsider taking the job, as he was dead set on confirming the rumors about the gem. He had even told them that he would stay to take the job even if they did not, but he never let them know why. Even in the past 2 years, he refused to tell them why he came to Water Country. You aren't the only one, Kurenai, but there isn't anything that we can do about that. We can only prepare for the worst and do the mission. We need the money. Yes, said Kurenai, as she let go of the subject. As the woman nodded before she looked towards her other little daughter, which was Haku, as she was dressed in black pants, a grey shirt that had stripes and curves around it, sandals on her feet, and a white Gear Hunter mask that she stole after one of their last takedowns. Haku was the last member of the Yuki clan, as she twists water and wind together to create ice. Then there was the spirited Ayo, being the strangest dress of the three girls, emerald green eyes and blue hair that she kept quite short. Her clothing that was made of a waterproof material was rather unique. To put it nicely, it was more revealing. However, Kira, for the life of her, could not figure out why the girl chose to dress like that. It was not proper for a young girl her age. Hell, even Kira would not be caught dead wearing that. It was like straps, crisscrossing around her body, as the top was covered, as they went from her shoulders coming down. However, it barely even hid her chest that much. But the most important parts were strapped down, so you could not really see anything. But there were still some exposing parts. And what she was wearing below that, it was extremely short, with the same material coming up from her feet, coming straight up, stopping right at her knees, as two kunai holsters were at the back of her hip. Her clothing just looked too revealing for someone her age. As for Naruto, he hadn't changed that much except for taking two blades. Two Wakazashi blades from the dead hunter that Haku got her mask from, as him and Haku had been the one to take him down, as she along with Kurenai had been helping Naruto to use those blades. As Kira was shocked the way he just soaked up everything that you taught him, and whenever he couldn't get something right, it did not take him too long to get around it, or find a way. He even made a couple of his techniques that way, by accident, something that shocked her, as she only saw him perform the techniques with one hand sign. Then he disappeared for hours. He then returned and he could do it without even weaving hand sign, using pure chakra manipulation. Somehow the boy was able to achieve something that was only ever heard in the second Hokage of Konoha, who could use water style jutsu without even hand sign. And yet this child was already proficient enough to use that. Although Naruto had chakra reserves close to her own, out of the girls, Ayo had the most chakra, as she came from a strong water clan within the land of water. Those water users were extreme in their abilities, and Ayo was a prime member of the clan, able to manipulate water faster and quicker than any other user she ever seen. She just needed some more practice. Not to mention, they could also hold their breath underwater for at least a good 10 minutes. They were trained at an early age to fight underwater, so she was quite skilled in that regard. The bloodline seemed something that was just advanced. However, the 4th Mizukage still think that it was a bloodline, and he hunted them down. Ayo also could form hand signs quickly. However, Haku had her beat, with able to use one-handed seals. But Naruto had the both of them beaten that because he did not use hand signs. And Kurenai, well, while she was the slowest in that regard, she was the best in Kinjutsu and Taijutsu, second to Naruto. And that was because Naruto was extremely powerful, able to break through defenses with ease. It was hard for someone to remain on defensive when fighting him. But now it was time for them to embark on their mission. Get ready, she said. it's almost time for us to head out to the mission. But guys, to be in subscribe right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends, your social media platform, and also remember to stay tuned for those what is coming your way. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. But for now, I'm out. See you guys soon. Peace.